Hi everyone, it's another day, another share, and today we're doing a tutorial, and what I want to work on is the Hexagon Trim Tool from Creative Grid. I love these rulers. I'm not a gadget kind of girl. I've worked with one ruler for many years, and recently I have discovered a lot of different rulers for log cabin kind of the log cabins and other stuff, and I like the look of log cabin, but I've only made one log cabin quilt, and the reason is because it takes time to go around and then make sure everything's trimmed up properly and everything. And these Creative Grid rulers, now I believe I've shown the log cabin, some of the log cabin ones. I will be showing some of the other ones that I've shown the basic one, but I'm going to show other ones in the future and do tutorials on it. But today we're working on the Hexagon Trim Tool, and everybody seems to like hexagons, and there can be a lot of fun. And this is the ruler, and you have several sizes, okay, but the finished size is the size of this block. So, and they show you here, you could cut this large size and do one round around to get that look, and then you can do the next size, which is this size, and get 2 rounds to go around this size, which is, I believe, the 4-inch one, or you can do the 2-inch one and get 3 rounds. And I'm going to show you what we are physically going to do with this ruler. So let me switch out cameras. So this is the this is what we're going to work on today. I'm going to show you how to use the ruler to get this block. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our hexagon in the center here, this hexagon. And oh, you know what? Hold on. There, now you can see me. I'm working with a whole new camera setup, and I'm still learning it, and it's not easy. Let me just find my little scissors, because this is driving me nuts. And here we go. So the first thing you're going to do is, I'm actually going to work on this side. So we are going to trim off. You're starting your hexagons, so you're going to trim off, and you're going to, this is if you're using this size, this is 2.5-inch strip. So you're going to start with the 2.5-inch strip, and we're going to just trim off this excess here, and that's the waist. Now we're going to flip this because we want to cut our first hexagon. We've done 1/2, and now we're going to cut the next half. So you're going to line up the black lines of the small hexagon for the 2.5, and you'll do the same thing if you're doing a 4 or the next size up. Okay. Now you could use this whole ruler. And cut that size. You would just need to measure from here to here, and I believe it's 8 inches or 8.5 because it includes the seam allowance, and you would be able to just do a hexagon quilt that size cut and just assemble them all together. And they also give you, and I'm going to show you, they give you, they explain how to do a half hexagon cut right here, and they also show you how to do a set-in slim triangle to set in at the tops and the bottom or sides or whatever. I think it's, well anyways, I'll explain that. So we're just going to cut, and you have your first hexagon. The first one is easy, and I'm going to show you what to do when you get to this. So what I do is I line up, and it's not straight, so I'm going to, for some reason it didn't go straight. So we're going to we're just going to move over a little bit, and we're going to cut this, and then we're going to flip the ruler, or you can flip the fabric, whichever. Actually, I'm going to flip the fabric because I'm right-handed. and we're going to line up again. And this is the hard part, but you're going to just carefully line up, and we're just going to trim that off, and that's it. And there's another hexie. So I'll do that one more time. You're going to line up, and if it's not straight, just shimmy over a little bit. Okay, you're going to pick up the ruler, flip the fabric, line up, oops a daisy, line up the fabric again, and there we go, another hexie done. All right, so that's how you cut your center hexagons out of a strip. And we're doing, like I said, we're doing the small one, which is a 2.5 inch strip. But if you wanted to do the big one, I believe it's a 4.5 inch strip, and then it's a 6.5 inch strip, and then it's an 8.5 inch strip if you just want to do a big hexie. All right, so the next thing to do is I'm going to show you how to build your hexagons, okay? So now, the first thing you're going to do is prep your pieces, and your pattern, the ruler comes with all the instructions. You have all the instructions here written down, how to use the rulers for the different sizes and everything. It's all there. So the first strips, they'll tell you first round, your light and your dark, and how wide your strip has to be. And you just you can prep all your strips ahead of time and line them up together, blah blah blah. All right, so then you need to get the first round on, and the first round is probably your most important and the one that has to be the most accurate. So I'm going to find the center of this, and we're going to just do a finger press, and we're going to find the center of this, because this is the first round I'm going to put on. And like I said, the instructions give you all the cutting instructions and everything, okay, in the ruler. Then you're going to put that on, lining up the the centers where you've pleated it with your finger pressed, and we're just going to go over to the next camera, and I'm going to just sew these on. Now I have my 1/4 inch foot in, so I'm just going to line this up and sew that on. And I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I'm just going to iron this open. Let me go back here. We're just going to iron this open, and we just put these little pieces, and you do the same thing for the next one. Okay, and you press this. Okay, and then you will go to the sewing machine and sew here, open it up, press it, and then do the third. So you would do these small ones every other one, and then you would have something like, hold on a minute, where's my, oh, right here in my hands. You would have it like this. So the next one, and we're still working on the first round, okay, your first round. We're still working on the first round. The second round, we are going to fold this together, and I line up the seam allowances, okay, and I finger press here, that's the center, and I'll take the next length for the next piece, and we're still working on the same round, and we're going to line that up, and we're going to go to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew this down. Now I have my 1/4 inch foot on, so sometimes it kind of, the guide gets tangled up with fabric, so I'm going to just come along And then I'm going to just put my needle down, and because you see that it's pushing the fabric this foot, so I'm just going to lift it and get it over, and I put the needle down so I can control, so it doesn't kind of shift on me when I lift the foot. Okay, so then you're going to press that open. You're going to press that open, and you're going to do the same thing for the next one. You're going to line up. Here, hold on. I keep forgetting to move over, so bear with me. You're going to line up like that. And you're going to take another one of these and line that up. And you're going to put that on, and you will sew along there. Okay, so you do that on, you finish sewing that, open it up, press it, and then do the last one the same way. Now you will have something that looks like this once you've done, this is the first round, and you want to make sure you have lots out here, because now we're going to trim this up, and I'm going to show you how to trim that up. And I keep forgetting to put on the little thing so you could see me. All right, so you have your cutting sizes, okay, and then you have your different sizes to cut. You have the white one, round one it says, then you have the dash one, it says round 2, and then you have this one that says round 3. Okay, so we are going to go and put it, and I like to put it like this, and we're going to put it on round 1, which is the white, and I check here, and I check here, and I check here, because I want to make sure that that point is not getting cut off. And then you're going to cut 2 sides like this and like that, and then you're going to turn, line up the white again, and at this point I'm going to line up the black lines also on the 4-inch hexagon. That's the edge of it, and I'm going to make sure that that's lined up, and I'm going to again make sure that here and here, and of course here, I'm not cutting off the point of the light pink. I don't want to cut off my points on this one. And this is the only round that you have to worry about points. And I'll show you as we go and do the other one. Now we're doing the last cut. I'm going to make sure this black line is lined up with the fabric. I'm going to make sure this is centered on the hexagon. I'm going to make sure that this last one here, it gives me 1/4 inch away from the point of the pink. And I'm going to trim this down, and that's what it's going to look like. All right, so we're going to go to the next trimming. So we're going to go to the next one, and I believe the next one is, yeah. So this, we're going to start on these edges. And we already have a center marked, so we don't have to pleat, but we do have to pleat this one. So we're going to pleat this one, and we are going to line that pleated up with this point, and we're going to go ahead and get that sewn down. Now you can go in and trim these down if you want. I don't bother, because I machine quilt. If you're going to hand quilt this, I suggest that you trim those off. But let's move over to the, and we're going to go ahead and sew these down. All right, let me just trim that. All right, so that is the first round, and we do it 3 times on here and here. So like I said, you would take this, you have your point, your center, you're going to find the center of this strip, finger press it, line it up. So here, open it up and do the last one the same way. Now, you're gonna, once you've done that, once you've put the first ones on, you've done all these. Okay, so now you're gonna do the next one. Now, I don't have anything to indicate here what my point is. So I'm going to line up my seams of this purple and finger press here, and then I'm going to finger press this one, and I'm going to do this a couple of times so you can see. Okay, and I've lined up the finger pressed on the strip and on the main body of the hexagon piece, and we're going to go ahead and sew this. So what I'm doing is I have my 1/4 inch foot, and there's a guide, and I'm lining up my guide to the dark purple. I'm making sure that my raw edges are lined up here, and I'm going to sew a little bit, and then I'm just going to put my needle down, so when I have to stop, when I get down here, and this guide, if you have one of these feet with a guide, it doesn't seem to glide over this fabric that's sticking out. I prefer not cutting it off because it gives me an idea if I'm straight or not. But I'm just going to come along here, and then I'm just going to lift this a little bit, and it's still not lined up. But because I have my needle down, it doesn't, this won't move on me. And then I finish sewing that. I bring the needle up for the next one, and I'm going to show that to you again in a moment. We're going to set up the next round, and we're going to finger press this out, and we're actually going to trim this. These are really fun blocks to use scrap. This is just all this fabric that I've used is all scrap from my stash, leftovers from other projects and stuff, and I've just cut them down to whatever width I need it, and everything. So you're going to line up the seam allowance to find this center. You're going to finger press this just enough so you can see, so you can line up this finger press with that finger pressed, and that's it. We're going to go back to the camera now, to the sewing machine I should say, and we're going to go ahead and line up the 1/4 inch. There we go. Just going to check to make sure everything's straight and lined up. And it is. And there we go. And we're going to finger press this. And we're going to line up the seam allowances and finger press a little pleat in there. And we're going to do the same thing on this one. And we're going to go ahead and make sure everything's lined up. And we're going to go ahead and sew this one. Now I'm just going to stop here because I want to put my needle down so it's ready. Okay, and like I said, I put that needle down so when I have to lift the presser foot, I have it secure in where I want it to continue sewing from. All right, so we're going to go back to there, and I'm just going to drop this, and I'm just going to open this. I keep forgetting to do that. I guess it doesn't really matter. Talking to you guys. Love you guys. All right, so this round is ready to be trimmed down. So the next trimming is the same thing, except this was round, the green was round 1 and the purple is round 2. So we're going to go to the dash line. There's a little dash line hexie there, and let me see, the light is, oh, there we go. So there's a little dash line there, and what we're going to do is we're going to I want to turn this because I want to do this cut and this cut first. And this time around, the only thing that you really have to make sure that you're straight is that this is lined up with the hexagon, center hexagon. They've given you some dash lines here that line up with the, you know, this one here lines up with the diamond. I'm making sure that other things are lined up where I think they should be. And then that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and, it looks really good. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that. I'm going to turn this one, line up again, the dashed line to the hexagon in the center. And at the same time, I want to make sure that this lines up and this lines up. And the reason is because that's what I just trimmed. And I need to make sure it's against the next hexagon size, which is the 6. And trim off. And we're going to do one more turn. And we're going to trim, line things up again. And I think I turned it too much. Yeah, that's better. And I'm lining up these outer edges of the 6-inch hexagon. I'm lining up the dash in the center, and this is ready to trim. And that's all ready to go, and that is done. I'm just going to give this a quick press. I'm really pleased. And like you said, like I said, you can go in with your scissors and just trim those down if you want. I'm not going to bother because, like I said, if I decide to make this into something, I'll machine quilt it. I won't hand quilt. So now we're going to work on the last round, the very last round. So we're going to start on these first, and I'm going to find the center of that, and I'm going to find the center by lining up the seam allowances and finger pressing this and taking the finger presses and lining those up. And I found that finding the centers really makes a difference in making sure everything is easy to, and to make sure that you don't lose your points down here, and that everything is squared and lined, and making sure that it's straight, especially when you're doing the darker color. Finding the center really helps. So let's move over to the sewing machine. Alright, and trim off my threads. I'm going to go ahead and iron this one. I have a tendency to iron in between. You probably don't have to at this point. With the first ones you did, but with this one probably because they're not overlapping. When you work on the longer ones, after you've got these first ones put on, you might have to press as you go. Now the combinations of what you could do with this block can be a lot of fun. You could do every other hexagon as a log cabin, not a log cabin, it's courtyard steps or pineapple. It looks more like a pineapple. It's the construction of a pineapple. And so you could do that, and that's pretty good. And then you do a solid in between the construction of these. So you can do these like this, every other one, and then cut your other ones as solids and fill in with a background like fabric. And I'm going to show you soon. Oops, wrong one. I have one more to do for this. So there's lots of combinations that you can come up with, and there's, you know, several sizes and looks that you could come up with that can be really, really fun. So let's sew this. Oh, I didn't switch out, sorry. I was chit-chatting and I forgot to switch out. Going to sew this last one on, and then we can go on to the darker one to finish this round off. Okay, and we're going to switch back here. That I did that correctly. I am really struggling. I am really struggling with getting the combinations. I'm thinking of this, and I have to think about which cameras I'm going to. So this is a very brand new setup for me, so I'm still kind of, I'm not efficient with it. All right, so the last round we do before we do our last trim up, we're going to find the center of these longer ones, and we're going to find the center by lining up these seam allowances and finger pressing. And then, like I said, I find that not cutting these down, and also I find that finding the center really helps to make sure that this is straight. I tried trimming them, I tried different things, and I just found I got a better result by leaving these little tails out and taking the time to find the center of each strip. So let's head over to the sewing machine again. I just find that if you don't take the time to line things up properly, let me just put the needle down. There we go. You kind of get a wonky looking, a little more wonky looking log strips, and we don't want them wonky. We certainly don't want them wonky. So now I'm going to go ahead and iron this one, and I'm going to move over to the next one. So this block is almost finished. And then we're going to do this one. Lining those up. And then we're going to switch to the go. So we're doing the last one now, and we're going to line these seam allowances up to find the center. And we're going to find this center. And we're going to go to the Now this you can organize yourself and end up chain stitching some of these, and when you get into the larger, you just pin the centers together, and then you can stack them up and just sit down and sew a whole bunch of them together, and then you can go and iron a whole bunch at the same time, and then move on to the next log, and everything. You can just kind of organize yourself so you're not doing one at a time, but do multiples at a time. So you can get to this stage and have like a nice big stack all put together, and then you can do pinning or cutting. In this case, we'll be prepping to cut the last round. So the last round is round 3, and we want to cut this edge and this edge. So we want to round the solid into the center. Again, what I'm doing is I'm checking some of the other lines to make sure that things are kind of squared up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hold on a minute. So that's what it looks like it's going to be. So I'm just making things look straight. We have just a little bit of waste everywhere. So I'm just going to cut this and that. I'm going to turn my board. Oops. Sorry about that. So I'm really sorry about that. So I just cut this and this. Okay. I'm not going to lift up the ruler because we're cutting it to size now. And I'm just going to turn the board and cut that. Turn the board and cut. Turn the board one more time. And there we go. And we have a perfectly shaped hexagon. So there's the 2 hexagons that I've done so far. All right. And so that's how you do all your hexagons. Okay. That's how you do them. Okay. So we have the 2 and I'm really pleased with them. But now I want to show you the other things that you need to be able to cut, and the ruler gives you those, and the pattern gives you those, and the instructions give you all that information. So the next thing I need, so for example, if I'm putting these 2 together like that, let's say I'm putting them there we go. If I'm putting them together like this, I need this piece here, right? And then at the end, if I have this, say I have this and this, that's a triangle. That's the triangle that needs to go in here. But also there is, let's say I have this and then I have another one here. All of a sudden I have a half hexagon that has to go in here. And so I'm going to show you how to do the triangle first. You are going to take a strip. The instructions give you this information. So you're wanting to put in this triangle, and the instructions are giving you this information on what to do, and then you just cut off to square things up. But you also have something like this where you have 3 like this, and then you have this hexagon that you have to deal with. So I'm going to show you how to do the triangle first. And these are so the instructions tell you how wide this strip has to be able to do this triangle. And it even shows you how to do some fussy cutting with your ruler. So it's really quite, it gives you lots and lots. Now the first thing I want to do is I just want to square this up. Probably don't have to do this, but I'm anal retentive, so I need to square it up. So the first thing I want to do is I'm doing this cut to get the triangle. Now I have 2 layers here, and I'm assuming that this is the same as this. The only thing that's different is this. So you don't have to flip these. So you're going to line this edge up, and you're going to go ahead and cut this triangle. So there's 2 triangles right there. So they are the same regardless, and those would go right in here. Okay, those would go right in there. The second one would be a half hexagon. Okay, so I'm just gonna prep this fabric, and I'm just going to line this up because I want to square this edge up. There we go. And the half hexagon is marked here on the ruler. So you are going to take is that Yeah, there. You have to make sure you're on the right side. I'm just going to double check this with the instructions on how to cut a half hexagon. I'm pretty sure, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, so you would have to make sure that you're on the right side. Okay. Because you want to be able to cut a little something off here. Okay, that's this little edge here and this little cut here right on the sides is going to help you line up your pieces. All right. I'm just going to turn this so I'm not cutting towards myself. And there you go. And there's your hexagon. And the hexagon would fit. See, it will line up just like that. That's why you need this edge, because you need to line it up. And then that would fit in there. And then you would have this one here. And then you would have another one coming off of this in the same angle as this one. So those are see, and this goes right in here. You see how that's working? So if this is one side and then this is the other side. But the instructions give you all that information. And I really am very, very pleased with that. So that is how you would work with the Hexagon Trim Tool. Several sizes. And like I said, you have 3 different sizes. They're all finished at 8 inches. But you could cut the 6-inch and do one round to have it look like this. This would make a very nice photograph. You could print a photograph on the fabric and cut it down to this size, and then you can do one round, and then you have like a memory quilt, and then you have all the pieces to put, all the instructions to put the pieces together, so you can do, or you can do the 4-inch and do 2 rounds, and that could become a signature quilt where you have some people sign in the middle of the blocks, and then you can, or you can do the 2-inch one and do 3 rounds that we did here today, and like we did here today. And I'm really pleased with the finished results. This is something that I'm going to want to do more of, and I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to work with the Hexagon Trim Tool from Creative Grid. I will put the link down below for the tool, and we'll talk on the next other day, another share. Bye bye.